sweaters fit way too tight all the way around, so they looked outgrown right from the get-go. Like the 1940s turtlenecks on newsboys who stood in the streets calling out the latest war casualties. They cost a whole $24, even in 1968 at Marianne's, where I got that credit card for free, simply by signing my full name and smiling all the way home, so excited to show my father how much I had grown, though I still shopped with my mother, and she was there to co-sign. He said, "Let me see," and seemed to be examining it for a long time, the card, that is, made of plastic with royal blue block letters spelling my whole special name, the first name after his murdered mother, the middle after my mother's mother, also, by the way, sent to the ovens, though that makes it sound like she baked sponge cakes. There is no way to say these things. My father started shaking his big, round, shiny head at my new plastic sign of maturity, scrawled with my whole sorry anglicized name that should have been Double-Leah. Then he chanted, "Oi, beautiful for special size," and with scissors he dissected the card before my bug eyes. The card I coveted as my proof of American citizenship. I didn't dare try to take the scissors out of his hand or even talk back. It was a different sort of language we spoke back then, silenced by just a look from the father's sequined or incendiary eyes. The Orthodox patriarchy transported to this golden land, though the laws of keeping kosher and resting on the Sabbath got left behind in the cinders of the shtetl. Slicing the plastic into 4 unequal parts, he said, "No pecky, no pecky, no man." Have I already told you my father was smitten by American sayings of all kinds? I usually heard this one in our station wagon sorties when I went along to drop off snowsuits, with fat sky blue snowmen embroidered on the bibs for the babies and fur coats for the moms. The silver, silky linings showed off monograms my father had sewn with his embroidery machine. No cash, no package, no man. He'd practiced his English on me. Maybe I sat stunned for a long time, or maybe I sobbed right away over the card cutting, but you can be sure my mother shamed my father for making me sad, our house quite accustomed to my father following close behind me as I slipped up the stairs to my cherry red room so as not to let them see me cry, because my mother hated to see me cry, though my father didn't seem to mind at all. He was the one who had decorated my room in that deep cherry red. He was the one who looked for closure of some sort, who talked himself into believing his father when he said they'd all see each other again. So I figure they never really said the goodbye of goodbyes. So in my room, when my mother closed in behind my father and they both sat side by side on the edge of my bed and started to argue about whether he had caused my tears or I was just too sensitive, I disappeared while remaining at the center of their attentions. "Oi, Al, you made the baby cry again." I was 17 and stood almost as tall as my 6-foot father. My classmates that year pinned monogrammed ATM gold circle pins onto their heather sweaters bought at the villager shop. The sweaters were also custom monogrammed in fancy script, just like the letters my father curlicued onto the linings of their mother's furs, stitched securely in the brightly colored threads of America. And the girls carried hard leather handbags, also by ATM. The heather sweaters had jewel necklines and hung loosely around butted breasts, while I stuck to the poor boy sweaters my father paid for with cash after the card-cutting incident, though the sweaters made him laugh in that needling way at the price he paid for his daughter to look like War's child. It was never a question of lack of generosity. It was just that my father wanted me to learn to save my own life if I needed, to follow his lead as he took half his weekly wage every Friday before the sun went down to the savings bank, though he always kept some cash rolled up in his brown pair of socks by the bed right next to the bulky batch of keys, just in case America turned on us, on all our accumulated proof of citizenship, survival, existence.